We now join our programming in progress.
How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of
GLITCH of Frankenstein.
My son, would you destroy that which I, your father, dedicated his life to creating? What if it had another brain?
Whose brain?
Your brain.
Power! What good is a brain without eyes to see?
I warned you that you might regret this action.
We warned you.
So you're recording now, so I'll
Well, I
babble.
just wanted to get past the.
No, I know you do. I know. That's why I'm
yeah.
babbling to
That's
babble
okay.
through. But
When I was out stuck at home last year for months on end, I had the In Search of Darkness documentary series.
Yeah.
So I finished those. It took a while because they're like 6 hours a piece.
is there 3 of them?
Yeah, but
I've only seen. I haven't even finished the first one.
I put money into them, so I figure I might as well watch them.
Yep.
They're doing a Thing one now.
Oh, that's
the
them?
Thing? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I watched those and then I had nothing but time, and I literally couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, even like typing at the keyboard hurt.
Right.
So I thought, well, I just watched that. I don't know, watch like the tentpole movie that started the series.
Yeah.
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
So I did all the originals of Night of the Living Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Psycho,
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. I did all the first ones.
Did you ever end
Halloween.
up getting through all the Friday the 13th?
No, I got like halfway through the second one. I'm like, this is shit.
It's so bad. I mean, those movies generally are very bad. But I still think number 6 is fun.
I've heard that, and I do want to watch it because it apparently has a sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
And the guy is a big, Universal Monsters fan.
Yep.
I do want to watch it for that.
I also still like Freddy versus Jason, which,
that looks
like I've
just
said before,
abysmal.
the lady in that is in the Evil Dead 2 commentary. They talk about how the shirt she's wearing is vacuum formed around her body or whatever, and this is totally true in Freddy vs. Jason. It's just an example of how that movie just does everything really big. I think it works. I think it succeeds. I also think, I've said before on the podcast, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Freddy is afraid of fire, okay, but Jason's afraid of water? That's like where he lives. So maybe, but it makes a kind of sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, in that Camp Crystal Lake documentary, obviously it's featured in there, and in the Never Sleep Again.
Yeah.
And in both, it just looks abysmal.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it. Plus, it's not part of the set that I have, because the set that I have is just the Paramount, like the first 10
of Friday the 13th?
Friday the 13th.
Okay. For me personally, I haven't seen all the Friday the 13th. I've seen the first 8 or whatever, and most of them are shit.
Yep.
So I think Freddy vs. Jason's better than some of those. Like you stopped in the middle of Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible.
It's just so bad. This is...
Like, that's true of a lot of those slasher
garbage,
movies.
but at least the Nightmare on Elm Street have some production value and there's something to it that I can at least grab onto and take the ride with.
Absolutely.
Whereas the Friday the 13th, it's like, this is the same movie, basically over again, only done worse.
Well, I think,
which I didn't know was possible.
Well, the first one is that's kind of fun in the documentary where they're just like, we're just going to make Halloween.
Yeah.
For $80. And they've got Kevin Bacon because he wasn't anybody yet.
Yeah.
But then I think it's Red Letter Media talks about how Nightmare on Elm Street, this series became a vehicle for directors to just do whatever the hell they want. True. And that's where it's dreams.
Yeah, you can literally do anything you want.
So it's like kind of fun to see the different directors come in, and Rachel Talalay does one.
Yeah. Did I send you that Eureka is doing a Tank Girl issue?
You might have, actually. Yeah. I don't know. Is Tank Girl any good?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Okay.
It is what it is. Okay, you got to go with that.
Yeah.
But for that,
yeah,
it captures the comic book really well.
Okay.
Lori Petty's great.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as I was talking about, the movie I was talking about, Bubba Hotep.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it was an hour ago.
Yeah.
It was, at the time when I saw it, when it came out, it was fresh, different.
Yeah.
And I'll go for that ride anytime.
I should revisit that one. My favorite, one of the reasons I think I don't want to watch Tank Girl is I don't think it's going to be as good as hearing Rachel Talalay tell the story.
Probably not.
Of being in a cab.
Yeah, you had
and
told
someone recommending Tank
Yeah,
Girl to her.
yeah.
I just love the idea that Rachel Talalay has made 3 or 4 movies, directed some TV, and people don't really know who she is,
No.
but she can get in a cab and somebody can
Someone's like,
recommend
"Hey,
Tank Girl to her and go, yeah, that sounds good. I'll see that. But yeah, Friday the 13th is not generally a good, like they don't, there's not even an attempt on some of them to make a movie. It's just
a series of kills, yeah.
Which sounds better than it is.
Yeah. The takeaway that I came out of it with is, the first ones are always usually really good.
Except Friday the 13th.
Yeah. They hold up really well.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre still holds up really well. Is it going to be super scary and all that? Well, to me, none of them are. None of them ever really are. I just know too much about how movies are made to
That's interesting.
Completely be immersed. The only time I've ever been scared by a movie, twice.
Let's make it a Frankenstein movie so that it ties in with the pod. We're recording
the Frankenstein Exorcist. And obviously it was huge when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. People were fainting, dying in the theater. They were so scared, vomiting, blah, blah, blah. All of it's true. Those are, all those stories are true.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times what made people vomit was the spinal tap that they do on her. Because it was
very
realistically done. So it was years later before I'd actually seen it. It was on TV.
Yeah.
Not the best way to see it, but it was,
Yeah.
It was me and my dog, home alone, because my folks went up to the lake and I either chose not to or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the time I had my dad and his sister had these twin beds.
Okay.
And they were new when my dad was a kid. So they were older. And it had the wooden rails on the side that held up the slats that held up the mattresses.
Okay.
Well, towards the foot of the bed on the left side, it was worn down a little bit. So every once in a while the slat would slip out and the mattress would tip slightly. So I'm watching this movie in the dark with my dog, and her bed is jumping up and down, and at that exact moment, my mattress did that. Turned the movie off, turned every light on in the house, and called my grandma, because I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it, but still, the timing could not have been worse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I've had that, I'm sure.
that scared the shit out of me. And I don't believe in the devil or any of that nonsense. No. Or the devil made that happen. No, it happened all the time. It just was really, really bad timing.
I think that's exactly the right attitude to take to it.
And I saw Apocalypse Now. I had to take like 2 buses to get to the Uptown. Saw it in its 70mm premiere, and it freaked the fuck out of me because I was like 14.
Okay.
And I think that's why it's one of my favorite movies now. It just got into my psyche.
Yeah. Is that work print worth watching? Every once in a while I think I'd watch it, but it's at like 4 hours.
It's like 5.5 at least, the one I saw.
Okay.
I don't know. You sent me a link to they had cleaned it up.
Yeah, it didn't
It
look
looks exactly the same as the VHS.
It kind of does, yeah.
It's a work print. It's never going to look good.
I think that's one of those where their version of cleaning it up is on your giant screen now, it'll look as shitty as it did on the little screen.
Yeah.
It was just slightly better, but you're not going to notice it.
No,
yeah.
it's
But I think that what's weird about that one is there's some interesting stuff at the beginning.
Well, it's
like the beginning itself is interesting because it's so long and boring.
Yeah.
Because he uses the whole song from the doors. And then when it's Martin Sheen in the hotel room, to be honest, you could do 5 hours of that. That's insane what's going on there. It is.
That's just fascinating to watch.
It's just fascinating.
And what I found interesting about watching it, and this was before he did the Redux or the Final Cut. I got a hold of a VHS of it in the mid to late 80s. And
that movie's 79. Not that old a movie at that point.
No, it wasn't.
Having all these reduxes and all that shit.
I found it very interesting as to what was in the rough cut that didn't make the final or any of the other edits, and what's not in the rough cut that is in the finished.
Yeah, that to me would be fascinating.
Because none of the dossier stuff that he's reading is there. None of the narration is there.
Harrison Ford in it?
He is.
What-
And
okay.
and Colonel Kurtz has a different name, like Lily or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, because Brando, being a lunatic, it's like, no, can't be Kurtz. It's got to be something more lilting, like Lily. And so Coppola's like, yeah, what the fuck ever, okay. So they shot it that way, and you can see his lip movements saying it, but they dubbed it in as Kurtz because he's like, what the fuck am I doing? No, it's Colonel fucking Kurtz because it's Mr. Kurtz in the novel. Fuck you, Marlon Brando.
Yeah, fuck you, Marlon
Idiot.
Brando.
What the fuck are you talking about?
He's been involved in some really... Marlon Brando is like a great character in the history of movies.
He is sort of.
Like he's in
not-
Superman. Do you remember the big thing about Superman?
'cause
Like
he was-
I still remember when I was a kid. That movie came out in '78, so I was
Yeah.
a little kid, and I guess you were 12 or
Yeah,
whatever.
yep.
That he got $1 million for that.
It was
It was
big-
just like that was a news
Well,
story.
and it was also news because he didn't bother to learn his lines. So he's
No.
reading
Yeah.
stuff off the back of other actors' costumes and cue cards
Yeah.
everywhere. And people were like, he got $1 million for that?
Yeah, to walk around a little bit. And then he was in The Freshman, which is like an
actually thought it was
amazing,
great.
it's great
I
film.
love
It's
that movie.
fun.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like, wow, where did this come from out of nowhere that
Well,
he
and
would
it-
be able to? Because by that point, we had already decided, was this after Island of the Lost Souls?
No.
Or is it even called that? No,
Yeah.
it's Island of
No,
Dr. Moreau.
No, before-
Same thing. People, our listeners will know it's the
It's
same
like 10
fucking
years
thing.
before or something like that.
Yeah. But
Freshman
like
came
that
out
movie,
sometime in the 90s.
Okay. So
Well,
my
maybe
thing
it'd be
about-
right around the same
around
time, actually, yeah.
So my thing about Island of Dr. Moreau is they had that documentary
The
about it.
documentary is fascinating.
And I watched part of it, and I realized I don't know that I can really watch these things because I really enjoyed that movie. I think it's fucking great. And it's because it's crazy. It's because of Brando. It's because of Val Kilmer. These guys who have just turned out to be... Well, Val Kilmer now has a different added thing because he's... But he already was kind of a kook.
yeah.
You know, and so like I really thought it presented itself as this
Good way to
fucking...
describe him.
He's a
actually.
kook.
He's a kook.
Hey, this is what we do in Minnesota. We call people weird when they're weird.
and kooks. But it's not a thing. Speaking of that, yeah, Walls, of course, is famous now for
Yeah.
applying that label to people who have deserved it for decades.
Yeah.
And there's a thing I saw, I don't know if it was Facebook or Reddit, somewhere, about, you got to understand, someone in Minnesota calling somebody someone weird is like calling them a fucking asshole, this big, long stream of stuff in any other state.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's about right.
See, that's the angle I guess I don't want to come out of this though, because I do think it's really effective at saying, there was something that I saw recently, which was somebody said, to have an opinion about whether your neighbor wants to have kids is weird. To have an opinion about it is weird, let alone to legislate it.
Yeah.
And that's where I think weird sets in, which is just like, you're not just dangerous, you're not just following your donors weird. I keep coming back to weird.
well, it is.
But you're just, at the face of it, you
You're
are a
just
weirdo.
Weird, yes.
Talk about it as weird.
To even have an opinion about it at all
is odd.
is weird.
Like, can you imagine going to your neighbor's house and going, well, you guys should really have kids.
Yeah.
Have you thought about kids?
You thought about having kids?
You're a fucking weirdo. Get
Yeah.
out of here. Get the fuck out of my yard.
Exactly.
Or as Walls says, mind your damn business. Or mind your own damn business. All right.
Well, and getting back to Island of Dr. Moreau briefly.
Well, I can talk about that one.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot too. Maybe not for the reasons that John Frankenheimer want me to like it.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have
I
seen...
forgot that's Frankenheimer. He did French Connection and Ronin.
No, he did not. He did Ronin, but he did not do French Connection.
What did he do as the other one then? What am I thinking of?
We did Grand Prix. I don't know if that's what you're thinking of.
Oh, maybe.
But he
I
also...
did French Connection.
French Connection was Friedkin.
Oh, that's what I do. Frankenheimer and Friedkin. I do that.
Yeah.
I put them together.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem that far-fetched. But Ronin, I remember, Steve Steiner's favorite film.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd still say that. We're going to do Ronin Minute with Steiner?
No. We're going to see him tonight. He's going to go to The Shining with us at the Riverview.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
As is my brother.
But
But
I haven't seen The Shining in a theater. Is it
I haven't either. I wasn't able to make it to the theater in 80 to see it.
Yeah.
At the time, it was just reviled by critics.
Yeah, that's true.
And of course, now it's considered, much like The Thing, has elevated to Kubrick's Shining is better than King's.
Right.
And I agree, because I'd read the book. So I expected to be disappointed when I saw saw the movie. But I was also a huge Kubrick fan, so I'm like, I don't know. And then,
I think we just win. We
Yeah.
have both.
Yeah.
I love the book and I
Yeah.
love the movie,
Yeah,
and
I think-
I don't feel like one has to win. Absolutely.
yeah.
I watched it on a plane sometime in the last 10 years. I remember the flight attendant came around to ask for a drink order or something like that, and so I had it on pause and I'm talking and whatever, and I looked and there was it was the lady in the bathtub with her bare breasts. Like there were bare breasts on the screen for a period of time, and I thought I didn't even realize it because you don't think of it, you don't think about it
as
that way.
yeah, no.
That's a fever dream.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Big time.
All right.
Okay. It's not like Caligula. When I watch that on the plane, you'll know it.
Yeah,
I turn up the volume.
Recite the dialogue along with.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right, welcome back to Frankenstein. I don't know.
Well, when we're done, we should do intros and outros because this is
Okay.
obviously going to be numerous episodes.
All right, well, that'll help.
Yeah.
Or hurt. What it'll do is just extend
Just
this.
buy some
nightmare.
time, yeah. Well, it extends my nightmare. 'Cause I
Well,
gotta
buy some
edit
time. No, I'm
this
saying the
shit.
opposite of that. Exactly. It's just going to extend your unpleasantness.
Well, I don't have to research. I don't have to get prepared for recording for a while. That's the thing.
That's true.
The editing sucks, but the prep for each recording is brutal, I think. 'Cause
Well, I'm glad to hear you say
spend
that
days doing it.
because I do too, and so I never want to complain to you because you do that, and so I just always think, well, you don't want to hear my bullshit, but yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Some of them are really bad. Like there was that one where we just gave up and just couldn't do it. Sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Anyways,
So what we have in front of us here, Thom Weaver presents the script from the Crypt Collection, Volume 16, The Ghost of Frankenstein, which is
written by Greg Mank.
Greg Mank,
Thom
Bill
Weaver
Weaver.
presents, but it's the name
Well-
on it, and then on the side it's Gregory W. Mank and Thom
Thom
Weaver.
Weaver.
Do you think maybe he's just trying to cover all the bases there
Well,
by
he
saying,
does-
you get the side, I get the
well,
top.
he does
you
it a
get the-"
lot because he's listed second on the cover as well.
You're right.
He does that a lot with these series.
Start up here where his name
His
is.
name
and
is,
then we're left.
but it's not like it's huge.
That's true
It's
too.
just this little script text.
In fact, that's why I brought it up, because I hadn't.
yeah.
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
And like, really? About the hideous sun demon.
Yeah.
Would have been really handy when we showed it on Horror Incorporated because I could find literally nothing about it at the time.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, I don't know. They're all up there. I forget what some of the others are really bizarre.
This might be my first or second one. Was this the one that has...
He did the Mummy series except for the first Mummy and then the
Okay.
last one because those are part of the Magic Image.
Okay.
But I wish he would do everything that the Magic Image series did.
Yeah.
Because the amount of detail,
Yeah.
not just the script itself, but the production background is probably 3-4 times as long
Yeah.
in this as it is in the Magic Image. And I'm not these
Yep.
Magic Image books because I've said before, when they came out, it was revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is fucking amazing. Somebody actually cared. Find these, first of all,
Yeah.
and then go through the effort of editing a book and publishing it. So yeah. Trips to-
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
The time I found it was at Dreamhaven, which is a kind of a sci-fi fantasy bookstore here in Minneapolis. And
Still around, but
Yep.
not in their classic location.
They've moved 3 times now
Or
since
I was going to say, or Dreamhaven 2. Remember Dreamhaven 2?
Yep.
That was near where I live, so I remember
Is it?
that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've moved a number of times since I first discovered it. And it was funny because I went to the studio once during horror and
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
still
cool.
have some of it. You know, some of it I just like, okay, well, this is stuff we can give away.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found it was Frankenstein, obviously, was the first issue. Volume.
Didn't get that one until like 2 years ago.
Did you? Yeah.
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
More of these. This is pre-internet, so you had no other option.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent them a letter, you know, this fantastic, blah, 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 blah. I can do
Was it a
more.
handwritten letter? Did you
Typed.
lick a stamp?
Oh, I typed it, but yeah, it was stamped.
Yep.
Then I got a reply that, yeah, we're going to do the whole series and more. And, they listed some that never happened. But so then I wrote again and like, is there a way I can just pre-order all of them? When a new one comes out, just charge my card and send it to me. And like, yeah, absolutely. Every now and then, without warning, had no idea what their schedule was going to be. It'd show up at the, oh, awesome, look at that. It's Son of Frankenstein.
Is there a better example of the shitification?
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand
We
by.
had that system in place before the internet.
Yeah.
And now that we have the internet, this book came out, and we both knew it was coming out. And then we were recording right here, and then we were like, "Oh, it's out now. It'll be here Monday."
Yeah.
Because we didn't know that it had come out.
Right.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Now. Everything sucks now.
It does. Everything is worse than it was before.
This podcast is worse than it was before.
I could not agree more.
True. True.
So we first heard this on the Classic Horror Film Board. Tom Weaver posted it, right?
We are currently experiencing technical
look at it
difficulties.
way more than
Please stand
Yeah.
by.
And the magic image was great, but the script in there is almost identical to the finished film.
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Frankenstein and I'm Thom Weaver.
Absolutely.
This script is it's obviously not as finished.
And I was excited because I'd followed this series, and they had just done three.
Mummy?
Yeah, three Mummy's Hand, Tomb, and
I don't
Ghost.
think I have the
Paying attention to these, awesome. And the Mummy's Hand was fantastic. And then the other two came out in short order. Usually it takes quite a while to put these together, so they must have just been working on all three of those at the same time.
Yeah. I sent you this link just recently to the Australian release of a new Blu-ray set of the Mummy films, and Thom Weaver does at least 2 new commentaries. Right. It's not the original Mummy, but it's the other ones.
No, the original Mummy has the same old shit that's been on there for 30 years.
Yeah, I guess it is.
But none of the others have had anything.
Right.
So
just like Ghost of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Still doesn't have a commentary. Or Frankenstein, which is one of the classics.
It should have. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it is in that upper tier, and it should have more respect home video wise than it has.
Yeah.
It's also one of the later ones to come out on VHS.
Yeah.
Ghost was really late in coming. In fact, to the point where the book, Magic Image Universal Film Script Series Volume 4.
They make a point of saying at the beginning.
Yeah.
Since this film is not.
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
The original script, and then just somewhere right in the middle. It's gone now. I could find it if I had to, but I remember it. It's Chaney. He's strapped down on the bed, but he's got out of his arm restraints, so his arm is coming out. And the caption underneath says something like Chaney reaching for a shot of something or other. Yeah, I can't remember what it is.
No,
now.
it's in the middle of the script.
Oh, is it? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I just saw it.
Well, that's okay. So we're kind of I'm dragging us all over the place again, but that's one of the things. This new version of the script book, Ghost of Frankenstein, this new book contains a full script of Ghost of Frankenstein, but it's an older version. It's the first draft.
No date on it. The title is The Ghost of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Screenplay by Eric Taylor.
Yep.
Versus...
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
I thought
Okay, well that's...
I think it might say something like...
We are currently experiencing technical...
Hobart, 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 Hobart.